It's 5:30. I'll call this meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety to order. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, the flag about the plant.
Oh, yeah.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'll move next to roll call. Clerk Treasurer Aldrich.
I'm here.
Present.
All right. We'll move next. Are there any additions to be made to the agenda besides Mr. Van Sickle has one? We can talk about that towards the end of the meeting. Is there anything else that needs to be added? All right. Hearing none, we'll move next to the minutes from the December 4th, 2017 regular meeting. Are there any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to that set of minutes?
No, I move that we accept the minutes from December 4th, 2017.
I second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. We'll move next to the minutes from the December 14th work session. Are there any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to that set of minutes?
No, I move we accept the minutes from the work session for December 14th, 2017.
I second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move next to the claims. We have claims in the amount of $361,316.95. Are there any questions regarding the claims?
No, I have none.
I had none. I move we accept the claims for December 18th, 2017.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims for December 18th, 2017 in the amount of $361,316.95. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Department heads, we have 2 department heads on vacation today, so I just told the other 2 to go home, and Mr. Van Sickle, being the, whatever he is,
He didn't go on
is here
vacation.
today, so we'll go ahead and go to unfinished business, which is the awarding of the micro-surfacing contract. I don't have the change order here for you today. I'll have that in December 2nd meeting, but we're gonna have a change order to reduce the quantities in here to correspond with what we would put in our community crossings application. But first, we can go ahead and award the contract, and then we'll get the change order ready for December 2nd. The contractor's aware that this negative change order is coming. It's a negative change order. So we had Pavement Solutions presented a bid of $243,307.70 for approximately 82,500 square yards of microsurfacing. Are there any questions regarding this bid proposal?
That's not the micro sealing, that's the micro surface.
It's the same thing, yeah, microsurfacing, micro sealing. So what they've got for most of the roads, and I'm sure I provided you a list before, I don't have one right now. Most of the roads is just a single surface, but on Front Street, and I can't remember, Debbie, if it's west front or east front, but it gets a double surface.
Is it in front of my house or?
Well, we're gonna do in front of your house, but I can't remember if we're doing single or double in front of your house, so, that, I know Front Street will be on there, but there's some roads that I included in the bid package that weren't in our community crossings.
That is part of community crossing.
This is part of community crossings, so whatever we reduce it down to, I can't remember what that amount is. State will pick up 75%, we'll pick up 25%. I should have those numbers available at the January 2nd meeting.
What's the conversationally, what's the deduction or the?
Oh, I can't remember. When we were looking at putting together the community crossings projects,
Joanne was there.
there had been a couple different, we had added some projects from 2019 and then we took those out. I forgot to take them out when I put together the bid proposal or bid specs, so
There's 6.
I can get that for you pretty easily, but I'll have it for you
You
January
need a
2nd.
new
I
motion?
remember.
Yes,
I
sir.
move that we accept the crossings, what's the name of that outfit?
Payment Solutions.
Pavement Solutions bid for
Oh,
273. Is that right?
Yep, $243,307.70.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'll go ahead and let Chris Ocean Pavement Solutions know, and then we'll get that change order at the next meeting. Alright, we'll move next to the mower. Superintendent Lyons included a summary in here of why he's requesting this mower. Get to it. So right now he's got a mower that has a bad motor in it. Trying to think.
Is that an old mower or it's old?
Yeah, it's the old John Deere, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
I can't remember. He doesn't have it in here. I was thinking it was around $3,200 to replace the motor. I could be off by a couple $100, but then we could get a new mower for $8,499 after trade-in.
Is this in his budget or is it his?
He has money for both for it.
Yeah, he would have to transfer some money from line items, but he has the funds available to make the
Do we
purchase.
do that transfer? Does the council do it or
The clerk treasurer does that.
do we approve it though, right?
If you approve buying the tractor, it has to be done.
We don't have to make a movement to transfer the funds.
No, you do not.
Okay, I move that we accept the bid from Bobcat to replace the mower for $8,499 with the trade-in of the John Deere 730.
And I second that.
We have a motion and a second to award the contract or to approve the purchase of the mower for $8,499 to Bobcat. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move next to, sorry. Move next to the well house. So Superintendent Myers, this is part of that same well 3 to well 5 connection that we bid out, and then we're trying to kind of piece and parcel it off one at a time. So I can't remember, he had emailed me and I didn't include that with your documents, but I believe this amount was lower than what Milestone and R&W had priced out in their bid specs. It's an amount of $16,546.62 from Integrity Electric Services.
That's,
And I believe Craig said this was the only estimate that he got back.
now this is for,
Building, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well-
this is,
They laid the foundation and this is the building.
yeah, we had the slab poured, we awarded that contract, so this is, the
This
scope
is
of
not-
work is the erection of the well house.
okay, this, but it anything to do with electrical.
No, the electrical we awarded to Skiles last time.
It looks like Craig's Kyle, maybe it's, okay. I move that we accept the bid of Integrity Electric Service for the building at well 3 for $16,546.62.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to award the contract to Integrity Electric Services for $16,546.62. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item I have is the 2018 meeting schedule. Same thing, I already sent these to Debbie, so if we change them.
You're on the hook.
But same thing we've been doing, regular meetings first and third Mondays at 5:30 PM unless the first or third Monday falls on a holiday and then it's held on the following day. Work sessions being held Thursdays in a week that we don't have a regular meeting. And those are all listed. Any questions about that
Do we have to
discussion?
have a motion to accept that?
We don't have to, but we might as well.
I move we accept the 2018 schedule of Mondays and Thursdays.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move next to the IHCDA grant on cameras, and I'll yield the floor to Mr. Dan McCain.
Okay, well, we've taken our job seriously. We've gone out and interviewed 3 prospective vendors that would supply the camera equipment. We did this last week, and we had Joanne Jermon, Vicky Sickler, Dick Traeger, myself, my brother, and Steve Mullen. And Tobe wanted to excuse himself because he's affiliated with one of the vendors. So we listened to their presentations and actually came to a pretty quick decision after they left that the vendor that has already done a lot of the work in Carroll County and Delphi, including at our canal park, is the one we prefer. and his price was the lowest. So I guess we would recommend Digital Video Solutions, Chris Clark from Avila, that would be at a price for cameras and equipment and recording and so forth of $33,965, which the top price, if you looked at Mohawk's high price, was $103,236. So they were kind of off the scale. They also had a medium priced one, which was $75,139. So the third one was ESG, Electronics Systems Group, at $55,960. So with that, we still have some extraneous things that are going to need to happen. One is we learned that the Duke Energy plan for the lighting at the 5 sites would not allow the use of the poles.
For the security cameras, we couldn't put the security cameras on the poles.
Yeah, can't put the security cameras on the poles. So just having the electricity and the lighting there is important, but not to use the poles. So there could be some expense to putting in poles was suggested. We might try to get REMC. We got a good relationship with REMC, but on the other hand, they're stepping right in the midst of Duke Energy stuff, and they might decline, but I don't think so. They've been good to work with for
You're
computer.
putting in the poles, not providing the power.
Right.
Not power, no, just
poles.
to provide some
So is
poles.
this all in Duke territory?
Yes.
It's all in Duke territory, yes, it is.
They won't give that up.
So that, and also the other thing that would be an added expense would be what you house the video recording equipment in. And I did spend some time this afternoon talking with Dick Bradshaw, and also a little bit with Shane too earlier this afternoon, that one of the proposals could be to enhance the looks and the utility of the kiosks that are there. Several places they're already there. We've got to build or acquire 3 more of them. Out of the 5 sites, we've only got 2 that are already covered with existing kiosks. Those kiosks are an important part of it too, because they contain information. They're attractive. They are a collector of people. When people go up to the kiosk, they get information. So we got 3 more to build. And speaking with Dick, as far as the kind of things that we would need to do to make a secure metal box, lockable and protected from weather and elements, that would be possible, but that will be an additional cost to what I just quoted, the camera equipment itself. Not
Duke
sure.
is gonna run power to each of these? Is that
There's gonna
part
have to
of
be
the deal?
power, yes, and yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Dick, because that is an additional cost that whatever Duke has is on site and is not necessarily plug-in-able. I mean, it'd be.
So what, do you have a price from Duke to do this?
For a booth?
Duke, do you have a price from them to set all these?
Julia has that, and it hasn't been aired yet, and we did not review this last week. And with Julia being out of circulation right now, we'll wait on that till another day when we can review.
But that'll be part of the cost that's.
Will be part of the cost. Now, will this all fit within the amount of money that's been collected and presented by Patronicity? Should easily do that, but on the other hand, there's some unknowns in this.
So does Duke have to run these lines a long distance? I mean, they can rack up some pretty expensive stuff if they have to.
Again, Julia has those costs, and I can't tell
Is
you.
it overhead or underground?
I can't tell you that. I don't know. I wasn't involved in the discussions with Duke, and that's an issue all of its own. But they're the ones supplying the power that will ultimately power the camera. So it is an important knowledge of where that outlet's going to be. They need 110 volt outlet somewhere in and about where those kiosks are going to be. And that may or may not occur where Duke's poles are. So,
I just wanted to have Dan here today and bring it up. I don't want to take any final action today because we have some costs that we're still waiting on, but also we still have to, I'm still waiting on Patronicity to finalize their end of executing the contract so we can transfer the funds to the city of Delphi, and then when Julie gets back in commission, transferring the funds from the combined account that the county chamber and Wabash Erie Canal have to the city. So I just wanted to bring it up today.
Well, I appreciate that because you're right. Julia is a very practical person about this. She's done much more of the negotiations and has much more information. Bring it
Can I ask a
back.
question though? That metal box you're saying is what the camera will sit in,
No, these wouldn't be for the cameras, it'd be for the recording equipment.
recording equipment, so
You know,
it's
I mean,
safe,
where
okay,
we brought all the.
okay,
And it needs to be someplace, literally, where the police could come, open it up, look at it, and it'd be nice if it was about eye level, because I've watched the police do their inspections when we're out at the Canal Park, and if it were way up on a pole, or if it was way down in the ground someplace, it'd be hard to access if the weather's bad, if, you know, it's just, it needs to be something accessible.
Now, they're not gonna be looking at this every day, but if there's an incident,
Incident,
they
they-
will
they-
open that box up and they will fire up
Okay.
whatever and they'll
And then
find if there's anything on there.
And then they download that and put it on a stick and bring it back in here for permanent records and so forth. The equipment will contain enough space on there to record several months and then record continuously over the top of it, so you've always got about 2 months.
And there's probably a couple different ways we could set that up. One would be always recording, and then there'd be motion activated, so I
okay.
think we get more storage time out of the motion activated.
Mhm.
But I think we could set it up where it's always recording too, which we'd probably get a reduction in the number of months
Yeah.
before it starts recording back over itself.
You know,
That's something that we
So
can
there's
talk to.
5 locations.
5 locations, yes. And that was part of the patronicity plan that was, you know, here.
Well, some of those locations probably already have power.
Well,
don't they?
yes, right. The only ones that don't have power right now are west of Pizza Hut and, no, that's all. City Park, Riley Park, actually, the Freedom Bridge area already has power. It's a matter of where you access it. And the Trailhead Park also has power. So there's only one place that new power needs to come in for.
Would there only be one camera at each location or multiple?
No, in fact,
cameras?
Chris Clark, who's the winner of this, actually has the greatest number of cameras that he spec'd. And David might want to comment on it. He had a very full plate for coverage. Very happy with what he had, compared to the other two who were limiting the number of cameras and even a higher price, so.
Probably would have the additional cost for connecting the power to where the cameras are. If the pole is way over someplace, then you have to get, so that, like, you know, creating a trench or whatever, burying
Yeah,
it, that would be an additional
That will
cost.
be. Because all 3 bidders did not spec putting in electrical service to the, I mean, you have to bring something that they can plug in and get
I would
110
suggest
volt.
if Duke brings it to the pole, and if they'll bring it to the ground, then you have a contractor to put that in, because Duke will really nail you for underground. And that's not a big deal or a hard deal to do, and you're only putting in 120, you're not putting anything serious.
Julia hadn't given us any real figures, this was like a month ago or so, but she was surprised at the cost that was going to happen with Duke.
The lights.
It was just,
Anything
it
you
was
can
not
do.
kind of unplanned, thought, oh, wow, this is gonna be a lot.
They're not charitable when
Yeah.
it comes to that stuff,
That's right. Well,
so.
anyway, what else you need?
I think that's all I need for now. Do we have
Good.
any more questions for the McCain brothers?
Are those, is that gonna be metered at the pole, or, you know, how they'll charge for that?
That I can't tell you either, I don't know. You've already got, city power at 4 of those 5 sites, and there's be one more, so I don't know when you can, I don't know how to answer that. I assume that they would use what city's already got.
Well,
Power.
most of the things the city has are metered. And they may give you a choice of.
Or lights.
That would be very light usage. I mean, the only time you'd ever really use it
Mhm.
is if they were looking at it. And that would be probably seldom. But on a meter, there's gonna be a minimum, $12, something like that, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that'd be expensive if you've got 4 or 5 meters.
I would just assume that you've already got power 4 of the 5, and you'd use that power, I would assume, but.
Well, again, if you could do that.
If we're gonna do this on the 5th of January, then Julia ought to have that kind of information.
2nd of January.
Oh,
And-
second
I
of
mean-
January, okay.
That's our next meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a rush, but at the same time, we've got a little bit of time.
Yeah,
So
that's plenty.
if it has to wait
Yeah.
until January 15th.
Well, we got our foot in the door anyway.
Making progress.
We're glad to be working with you on this too. It's a major thing for Delphi to provide greater trail security. And we've already learned very recently with several incidents out at the Canal Park, we really appreciate our cameras now. We've done some things that we didn't have any idea how to uncover until the cameras did it. So.
So you have a question?
I do. Is there a warranty on the cameras?
Yes, I can't quote it, but I could probably look it up.
I just wondered.
Yes, there is.
Are they viable in all weather? Is there a temperature
Yes.
that they don't work in,
They're
like
all weather.
20 below or something?
Mhm.
It's just the same guy that does it here at the city. Is it?
He
Jim?
does the city
Yeah, I think
too,
so. That's the
right?
same guy that does the city, did the canal. He may do the county.
Mhm.
Does he do
Yeah,
the-
they do the county, they've got Walmans, they've got, I think it's Citgo, they've got some other places in town. Chris has got a pretty good fog of, and that's why Tobe didn't wanna enter into the discussion, because he's got a lot of that in his own domain, and he's been very happy with, Chris, so I don't think
And
we'll have any
I mean,
problem.
Debbie, we've got 2 or 3 exterior cameras
do.
at City
Yeah.
Hall, so I'd imagine they work down to cold temperatures.
Yeah, I imagine they do here. It's just, seems different out on the trail, you know? Maybe not. But if they're warranted, then, hey.
Any other questions?
What would be the range on these cameras from the kiosk?
Well, that's an interesting thing. One of the presentations included quite a study. You don't wanna go into a heavy part of it, but distance away has a lot to do with it. How much you can discern from distance and the megapixels of the camera to start with, how much you can blow it up. In fact, Chris's equipment is superior in the megapixels to any of the others that were offered of those other 2 bidders.
Well, I would guess that the deterrent factor would be almost as important as the actual product. You know, people know they're being watched, it's different. A lot different.
Well, there's another factor too, that just in the protection of the equipment itself, is that if you've got several cameras around, unless somebody's able to destroy the recorder itself quickly and actually abscond with it, you actually get the perpetrators on tape. You find them driving up and doing something, and
Well, they wouldn't know where the recording equipment was if
Yeah.
it's inside these kiosks, I mean, unless they.
Only if they watch the video of our meeting.
Yeah.
well, anyway,
Call on
Sit here
tape,
thinking I should put this in the paper.
we're glad to be working with the city on this, and since it's on city land, it's important for us to see that. That was the deterrent before, when we were trying to handle it strictly as a canal or strictly as the Chamber of Commerce. It belongs in something where you own the land, you own people to maintain it and so forth. Okay,
Anything further for the McCain brothers? Thank you, gentlemen. We'll talk again
all right,
before the new year.
next time.
So,
Okay.
Merry
We'll
Christmas.
be back. All right, thank you.
We don't need to address those.
Well, you're next. Merry Christmas.
I didn't realize I included it. Mr. Van Sickle, the floor is yours.
Oh, how about the counter?
You can have that too.
I gave you, it's kind of separated into 2 sections. The top section, a little bit of history. Cottage Street Lift Station. Anybody familiar with Cottage Street? At the end of Cottage Street, beside,
Should've came in a folder
It's not a folder.
each
He
week.
doesn't have a folder.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry.
yeah, you did. It's even got your name on it.
Doesn't mean anything.
Anyway, Cottage Street is right out on Deer Creek. Down at the end of Cottage Street, there's an alley beside, I believe Bob Kendall and his wife live there now. Myers used to live there. Anyway, we've got a lift station out there. It was put in the mid-'80s. that lift station has been flooded twice over the years. Right now, we're down to one pump.
Flooded from the creek.
Flooded from the creek, yes. And we actually extended it 4 foot, I think. Matter of fact, Bill Schock put the tube on, so we've got a ladder up to it. It's almost been in it again. What I would like to do is get the control panel out of the lift station and mounted up on top. I'd also like to, if you look at the first group, Maddox Group has got a quote in there for just shy of $30,000 to do the work with the pumps in this first section. Those pumps, the ones from S&K and Systec Services, 2 sets of those pumps are comparable to the pumps that are in there, okay? What I would like to do is put in submersible pumps in a dry situation, okay? So a submersible pump is built to be underwater. So if we can put submersible pumps in and replace the pumps that are in there now, which are called centrifugal pumps, then if it gets flooded again and we have the control panel up above, we're still pumping. It's not really an issue.
Is there an impact on a submersible pump if it's being run in a dry?
No,
Situation
it's
this time?
they as a matter of fact our 2 lift pumps at the wastewater plant now are dry pit submersibles.
Good.
They just have a different jacketing to keep them cool.
Why would they be running if there was nothing in there?
What's that?
Why would they run?
There's still sewage in there.
Oh, you still have the sewage, but you're talking about the water from the
Well, okay,
flooding.
right now it is a dry station. It's got a wet well to the side of it, flows in to the pumps, they push it out. What I'm trying to get at is it's been flooded from the top, and the control panel is underwater for, well, it was probably close to a week at one time.
That's not good for a control panel, is it?
Well, no. So what we have to do is pump it out, once the water recedes, dry it out, get an electrician in there and hope that things work. Take the pumps out, they have to go to the shop to get dried out. If we had submersible pumps in there, in a dry situation, that would be a moot point, is what I'm trying to get at. Irregardless, I have 1 pump in there right now. I've got the other pump is in the shop, and I didn't want to spend $1,700 to get it fixed if I can do this. There's no sense in throwing the money away.
What's it gonna cost you total to do this?
Well,
Just
it
got
depends,
different numbers.
it depends on how receptive y'all are. The first one, if you look at the first section, $29,687, that was from Maddox, and that's just for the work. Okay, they're gonna put a decking on the outside, control panel up above. Now this is outside of the lift station. They're going to wreck the control panel that's in the lift station, take those 2 pumps out, put new pumps in. Now, this first one, the 29,000, they're going to have to do some modifications because the submersible pumps from S&K, they were going to have trouble fitting them. So what they were going to do now, the valves are horizontal. They were going to make the valves vertical. So I got a hold of them. I said, look, if you go to the second one, I got a company, American Pump Repair and Service, that came up with a dry pit submersible that would be a drop-in. And what I mean by that is, they wouldn't have to change any of the piping. The valves could stay the same, those pumps would go straight in. And that's why there's a difference in the cost of the pumps, but I think it's still cheaper if we went the second route. But if you look at Maddox's on the second quote, it's still $21,000. Look to the next page, and I got another quote from Central Industrial Contractors for $8,800. Same work, if you read it, platform, pull the control panel out. Now, the only thing that these don't include is the control panel itself.
None of them do Maddox or,
The only one that did, but I've got other people working on a control panel. American Pump Repair and Service, they had one in there. So I'm not really concerned with that. The control panel might be a couple $1,000s, and that's not a big deal. I mean, when you're talking about 40,000.
what's your recommendation here?
My recommendation is to go with CIC for the 8800.
Where do you see 8800?
It's in the second.
Oh, okay.
The second section. It's probably the third page, Dick.
Okay.
They've got it down there. It actually says renovation of Armory Road. Well, it's,
Okay.
I've had them looking at Armory Road too. We'll be talking about that next year, but what I would really like, I would like to have all the lift stations upgraded, at least pump wise, by the time I retire.
We still got another 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, okay. But my recommendation would be to go with CIC, Control Industrial Contractors, for the $8,800 for the labor, building the deck, removing the control panel in the basement, or not in the basement, in the lift station itself, and go with American Pump Repair and Service for the 2 dry pit submersible pumps for $29,536.64. I'm just afraid that it's going to get flooded again. I mean, it's unless we move that lift station someplace, and then you're talking a lot of money. You're probably in the 6 figures if you try to move that someplace.
What's the control panel, what do you think that ballpark will be? I know
Oh,
it's not-
anywhere between 1,000 and 2. That's why, you know, I didn't mean to sound like a couple $1,000s is, you know,
Comparatively.
not money,
Okay,
but
but the
comparably, yeah.
29,000 doesn't include that, moving that panel.
So 29,000 is just for the 2 submersible pumps. The 8,800 is for installation of the pumps and.
The actual labor
Yeah.
and